first snowstorm of the year hit the city without warning. The power failed just after midnight, the apartment turned colder with every passing minute, and my roommate sat on the floor wrapped in 2 blankets, her fingers trembling uncontrollably. When she whispered that her hands were freezing and instinctively slipped them under the back of my shirt for warmth, I froze, not because of the cold, but because I realized how fragile our lives had become and how much silent pain we had both been hiding. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us humanity still exists, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to Kindness Space. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories to life. Life had never gone the way either of us had imagined. I had moved to the city chasing a career that collapsed before it truly began, while she had escaped a difficult family situation hopping for a fresh start. We became roommates simply because neither of us could afford to live alone. At first, we were strangers who politely stayed out of each other's way. Over time, shared grocery bills, late-night study sessions, and quiet dinners slowly replaced awkward silence with trust. We never talked much about our past because some memories hurt too much to explain, but we somehow understood each other without needing many words. That winter night changed everything. The apartment grew colder by the minute. The heater was useless without electricity, and our phones were nearly dead. We searched every cupboard for candles, spare batteries, or anything that could make the night easier. There was almost nothing left. We laughed at our bad luck because sometimes laughing was easier than admitting we were scared. As the hours passed, I noticed how exhausted she looked. She had been working extra shifts to pay university fees while secretly sending part of every paycheck to help her younger brother. She rarely bought anything for herself, and often pretended she wasn't hungry whenever money became tight. Behind her cheerful smile was someone carrying responsibilities no young person should ever have to bear. That night, for the first time, she allowed herself to look vulnerable. The warmth she searched for wasn't just physical. It was the comfort of knowing someone cared enough to stay beside her when life felt unbearable. Sitting together under a pile of blankets, listening to the wind rattle the windows, we spoke honestly about our fears, our failures, and the dreams we were afraid to say out loud. The cold outside somehow melted the emotional walls we had built around ourselves. Morning finally arrived, and the electricity returned with a sudden burst of light. Everything looked the same, yet nothing felt the same anymore. We had crossed an invisible line, not into romance, but into genuine friendship built on trust. From that day forward, we stopped pretending we were handling life alone. The months that followed were still difficult. Bills kept arriving. Jobs were uncertain. There were weeks when instant noodles became dinner almost every night, yet something had changed inside both of us. Whenever one of us felt hopeless, the other quietly reminded us that surviving another day was already a victory. Success did not arrive overnight, but resilience slowly replaced despair. One afternoon, I received an interview invitation from a company I had almost given up applying to. She stayed awake until 2 a.m. helping me prepare, asking practice questions, and encouraging me whenever self-doubt appeared. A few weeks later, she received a scholarship that reduced her financial burden after months of relentless effort. We celebrated with cheap takeaway food and laughed harder than we had in years because happiness doesn't always come wrapped in expensive moments. Looking back, it wasn't the scholarship or the new job that transformed our lives. It was learning that strength sometimes means accepting help. We often believe we must carry every burden ourselves, but real courage is allowing another person to stand beside us when life becomes too heavy.